Hi, my name is Ralph Kliszewicz. We're here on Creativity. I'm super excited for episode number 4. I'm here with Ania Tarnowska, also known as I Ya Toyah.
That's me.
That's you. I got it correctly, right?
You got it awesome. Yes, Ania Tarnowska. A lot of people have problems saying Tarnowska because it's Polish. Well, I Ya Toyah, when spoken out loud in my native Polish language, which is also your native language, means it's just me. So I Ya Toyah, you know, they call me one woman army. This kind of fits, right? Being a single solo artist, single performer, brand as well.
So briefly tell me about yourself. What is it that you do and why do I have you here talk about creativity?
Well, I mean, I am a creative person. That's how it all began. I Ya Toyah is my musical project that involves kind of like a multimedia vision. I kind of envisioned it as a theater when I started thinking of I Ya Toyah. Now I Ya Toyah is literally international artist touring full America, full Europe. And yes, I've been on tour with Orgy, with Frontline Assembly, Wednesday 13. I've done a bunch of collaborations with multiple amazing artists. I'm about to go to Europe next year with KMFDM. I have 2 albums, 2 EPs out. Actually, 3 EPs out, yeah. Ooh, a lot of singles. I am that crazy person that will drop a music video to every single that I make. Yeah, that is me.
And that's how we cross paths.
Exactly.
Because we made 3 music videos for you. I think
Yeah.
3 music videos.
Pray Vast Spaces and Death's Kiss.
Death's Kiss, yes. And then you sort of cross into my world by helping me with score for The Artifact, I believe. And I think for the short, didn't you help me with
Yes.
with Bless Me Father?
Yes, I did. And you know, that actually is so cool because it opened the whole can of worms in my creative universe. That is literally what I want to do more of, the score. I'm very fascinated by just soundtrack world, soundtrack universe. When I watch a movie, it's probably mostly for the soundtrack, for the sound design. I watch the movie, yes, there is a plot, there are things happening, but music takes me on its own journey, and oftentimes I have to watch the movie again. I mean, I'm just curious that, you know, because the way score works is to bring the emotion of the visual part of the movie to make you feel it. Like without that music, you wouldn't get it.
I work with music, film, and I also write. And there's not that many boundaries between that. So often when I do produce music, I'm already thinking of the visuals, how this would feel if it was a scene, right?
Oh, yeah.
And if it's a scene, obviously there's got to be a script. So all these things sort of bleed into each other. Would you agree?
Oh my gosh, not only agree, I almost feel like it's a certainty. It's like it's something you cannot avoid. Like when I write a song, I have idea for the lyrics. Oftentimes I hear the synth line, melody, the drum beat. It's already there, but I also see it. I see the color. This song is blue, or this song is red.
Yeah.
And then immediately after this, I already envision kind of like a visual. And a lot of times it translates to later music videos. Not always, because there is like a team of creative that, bounces the idea. And a lot of times those are taken somewhere else, which is beautiful. I love it. But it starts it. You know, that very first moment. So I feel like this is so connected. It's intertwined. It's like there is no one without another, at least in my universe.
You've told me before that there's always something magical that happens on a stage, something in a moment, something creative that really happens on stage that cannot be really replicated in a studio, right? So there's a feedback, there's a loop. You're presenting your work to the audience and they're sort of presenting you something else back, right? You want to speak on that?
Oh, yeah. First of all, I always feel like the show, we all are part of the show. People who come to the show, I love watching them. And they come dressed up and they come with their makeup and they prepare to be at this event. And it gives me goosebumps just to like even, oh my God, because it's perfect. They take their own time, their own preparation to be part of that experience, right? And then I do the same. I do put makeup, prepare my outfit. I do plug in my cables. Of course, all the work done prior, like all the programming and rehearsals, warm up my voice, and then we meet. And that is such a gift, right? Every night is different. Every night is different, very special. And things that happen on my creative end. I mean, there are moments when I do mistakes, like, there are things that happen on stage people don't really know, but I know because I have in my in-ears and my in-ear monitors a click track, which tells me it's like tap 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 tap.
And you're off the clicker.
Tap. So I have those little indications in the top moments of if I need a reminder. If my rehearsals show me that, well, I need a reminder because I keep forgetting that one part. But then if you press something too late, or like change something too late, sometimes there are like those little errors. And I've had them, like almost every show something happens.
And you know what? In other episodes we discussed this. Creativity is a sloppy process in which the mistakes make the art. Would you say? Would you want to speak on that?
Absolutely. And there are moments when I do mess up. And well, of course, I keep going, show must go on. But then I recall the moment when I messed up and I'm like, I like this more than what I was supposed to do. Let me do this all the time.
I'll bring it to the studio, right? Later on.
Exactly. Like this is just crazy. Like a lot of things are born out of failure, I would say, mistakes,
Sloppy mistakes.
Yeah, that's why people are always afraid of failure. I'm like, no, embrace it. It's the best gift.
Okay, Ania, define creativity.
Oh, wow. I mean, I need a dictionary. Define creativity, I don't know.
I don't think the dictionary would define it as well as what you can give us.
I think it's my whole world. That's why it's hard for me to define it, because I'm in it, I'm it.
Okay, so let's think about it differently. Why do you create? Let's start with that. Why do you feel you have to create and you have to be creative?
The very brief moments of my life when I thought I gave up creative world were the moments that I cannot really recall, just because there was nothing. It's just this black hole, And so I quickly understood in my life that I just have no choice. It's kind of like a curse, but you just have to. Everything is dead. And what's... Yeah, exactly. And what's more, it's like, people often ask me, how are you so happy? I think it's because of this, because I found the way to exist.
You and I have something in common. We're both Polish immigrants.
Oh, yeah.
Being an immigrant, do you think that contributes to your creative process? What is it something... I'll let you start and I'll sort of have my input on that.
Of course, absolutely. I mean, starting even with who I am, right? I am the immigrant. So everything I create has to be somehow influenced whether I have control over this or not. And Polish upbringing, well, I mean, I grew up in Łódź, which is a very, it's a movie city.
Yep.
It's a film city and theater city. So art and performance was always there since I was a very tiny little being. And I was into music from a very early age. So I've had music school and all that stuff. But just the culture of my city, I'm sure it's very deeply enrooted in who I am, therefore in what I present to the world through my creativity.
And I'm going to say this. If you had stayed in Łódź and did not immigrate to the United States, I think you would have been different artists. When you're an immigrant, you're always an outsider. I've lived in this country for over probably 35 years, and I think I've assimilated well. I mean, I went to school over here. I got my education. I think I have a very good command of the English language. But no matter how much I assimilate, there's always a deep sense of me that I am still standing on the edges and observing the culture to which I've assimilated. And that observation in itself, I think, gives you a creative perspective that somebody that's born into a culture might not have. It's just a different lens that gives you as an artist, and I think that definitely has influenced me. Do you have thoughts on that?
I agree with you. Absolutely, yes. It's the thing. It's that I've always been an outsider, even in my childhood, even in my city. I've been just that weirdo kid. So, but that's true. The weirdo kid came to America, became even more of an outsider.
Your choice of industrial music, there's a purpose to it. And your music tends to be very personal. I think you use industrial music in the way that, let's say, Trent Reznor does. In other words, he uses his heavy sounds, but yet everything that he presents to the audience is very personal and deep. I think you're the same way. I mean, some of the vast spaces, concrete, you sing about concrete running through your veins. And those are very, very powerful words. So do you want to talk more about that?
Of course, I mean,
I'm assuming it's very personal to you, right?
all of it, every song ever written by me is, because that's the way I cope with my own internal distortions, with my own weirdness, with being an outsider. I guess, it's kind of like throwing this weirdness out into the world with hopes that someone will pick up on that and make me feel less weird. Well, perhaps I'm not that much of an outsider anymore, because now there is all these people who feel the same way. So it's kind of like a therapy, almost, which helps me in life every day.
There's an interesting book that I read very early on, when I was maybe like 19 or 20 years old, and it's Courage to Create by Rollo May. And essentially what he says, it takes a lot of courage to show honest piece of work.
It's like makes you vulnerable.
It does. There's a vulnerability.
There is the judgment that you have to face.
Exactly.
And the judgment is not just about external elements of your existence, but it's very much about your core.
And being, as we talk about being an immigrant, there's always the sense of vulnerability, because you feel like you're being judged by the culture to which you're assimilating, right? There's always somebody that's potentially born in here. That person might not be thinking about it. They're just already assimilated. They're just part of that culture, and they're just going through the motions. People like you and I, we had to learn the language. We had to learn the cultural rules, which potentially made us feel maybe uncomfortable or maybe vulnerable, right? And maybe even judge ourselves. And therefore, we need you need an outlet. And I think that is an ingredient to our creative process.
Perhaps.
Yours and mine.
Yeah, I think so. But I take rules and I crack their little necks.
Yes, I like that.
I don't obey rules.
You might be behaving according to things that make you angry, of which you are not even aware.
Aware of, yeah.
Now, those things that you are not aware of might bleed into your artwork.
Exactly, unconscious.
Right? To the creative process.
Subconscious, all those things. Of course, they're a big part of it.
There is a congruence between, for example, what psychotherapy is and creative process, because the whole concept of psychotherapy is to get to the content in your mind that you're blocking.
Yes.
And in the creative process, it's the same thing. Probably the songs, I'm assuming that some of the songs, some of the themes in your songs, you could not just meet somebody and say, let me talk about why do I feel there's concrete coming through my veins, right? You can't just do that by speaking to somebody.
It's the feeling.
But it's much easier to present it in the music, would you say?
Oh, definitely, yes. Oh my gosh, in my songs, I can talk about things that I don't think I would be able to have conversation about in everyday life, just like that. Like, it's hard because first of all, in the whole process of creation, when you are in it, you open up.
Yeah.
And then you pour out the things that are so deeply enrooted.
Right.
They open when you are in a safe environment, when you are kind of encouraged by yourself to dig deeper, right? But some of those drawers are not easy to open.
No.
And opening them can start mayhem in your soul. So it's a risky process. It's difficult.
I worked some of your music videos, and some of them feel very powerful, like vast spaces. That seems like there's so much sense of isolation, emptiness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you feel that way when you wrote that song?
Oh, very much so. I thought I'm going insane when I wrote that song. I thought I'm losing my mind. It was actually a pandemic, which probably everybody can relate to that period of time in our recent history. I just literally couldn't survive myself. That song helped me survive myself during that difficult time. Yeah.
Because potentially you got in touch with some of the things that were bothering you, and you were able to process that, right, through your work.
As I said, this is therapy. Literally, every time I write a song, it saves my life. There's a lot of darkness, which people cannot tell every day, only because I utilize the darkness into my art.
When you create something that's very personal and you bring it to the world, do you have trust in your audience? Because the audience, I think, is very crucial in the creative process, because if it was just about creating music, we can just create this music here and then listen to ourselves and clap for ourselves, and that's it, right? But we need the audience. We need to show our vulnerability, right?
Yeah. It's very much, it's that validation, but it's not. It's that being that outsider, looking for somebody that perhaps could understand and be similar that way, like just,
It's our method of trying to be loved, right?
Oh my gosh, exactly.
Right.
I think so. I think, in general, our whole life is to be loved.
Yeah, because I think it goes back to what we discussed earlier. You're honest on the stage.
Yeah.
You're vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
You want to share what is true, right? You're not just
Very much.
presenting good beats.
Nope.
Right? And it's something that people might not immediately perceive, but they know there's something different about this artist. And then they don't know what that is. And you might not be completely aware of it either, but there it is. It's shared in that moment.
I still ask myself that question. Like, what do they see? Like, what am I doing that's so special? Like, yes, doing this and doing that, but the response is so much more, that I am. Like, what is it? Is it the look? Is it the music? Is it the...
I think it's authenticity.
That's cool, because that part, I have it. I cannot escape it.
Right, awesome. I remember we had a moment that we kind of shared some personal stuff. I think I was making the music video for you, and I had some sleeping problems. I couldn't sleep. And I think then you shared to me something very profound. You said you were in coma?
Yes. I was in coma when I was a child. I was in a car accident with my dad. I was 12 years old, coming back from my music school. Accident shattered my guitar into pieces. Did a lot of bad things, but the worst thing of all was that coma, it was a long-term coma, which I wasn't supposed to wake up. That's what doctors told my mom. She fought them, so the machines kept me, and one day I woke up. When I woke up, I couldn't talk, I saw triple, I couldn't walk. I had to learn all these things. I had to go through therapy to, put like the puzzles like for kids.
Well, how old were you?
12.
Oh, wow.
I was 12. I lost a lot of abilities, but I quickly regained everything back. It just put me behind in my everyday world. I lost a year of school, which actually made me lose another year of school, and a bunch of other problems that came out of it. Trying to, catch up. And also, I could never come back to music school after this, just because of pressure being put on me to finish regular school, which kind of traumatized me, because I loved my music school,
Right, and then probably there was some anger developing that I'm sure bleeds into your music today, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wonder sometimes what would happen if I didn't have that accident, and if I continuously maintained the, education in the Music Institute. And it's funny, I don't know, but whatever that would be, I'm grateful the way things are today. I wouldn't exchange it for anything. It's just curious to kind of wonder this way.
Maybe you would have been a classical violinist and some kind of orchestra versus
conductor. Maybe conductor.
What instrument did you play in school?
Guitar and piano and voice.
Voice, okay. Yeah. I think I know exactly what you talk about, processing pain through our creative work. And one of the perfect examples of that is that I really encountered that was I was writing my novel called Algo. And of course, these characters are fictional, but they're essentially, there are moments or scenes or you you take parts from people in your life and you just superimpose them to your characters. But I think I was speaking to my wife about this, and then I started writing a scene about mother, the mother of my main character, Theo. And then just naturally, the scene began to sort of formulate itself, and it led to her committing suicide, and she was depressed and isolated, and this character, the mother, Theo's mother, was very isolated, and then basically spiraled down into insanity.
Wow.
Granted, this is a fictional character. And then my wife looks at me and she goes, you know, this story is very, very close to the story of your own mother. And then sort of shook me. Then the realization came to, wow, there's a lot of me and my history and my own life that's introjected into this project that I was even aware of.
Yeah.
And I was actually literally being anxious and shaking and such.
Oh, man.
Telling about that, because I don't think I slept that well that night after writing that one particular scene.
You touched like the deeper nerve, you know.
Yeah. Talk about my mother. Now, my mother didn't commit suicide, but she had some mental difficulties she had to deal with, and it was a very, very sad story. And unfortunately, I wasn't even there because when she passed away, I was away in college, so I wasn't even there. But I felt like I wasn't. There was probably a sense of guilt in me that I wasn't really there for her when she needed me there. So it's almost like that scene in a particular novel gave me that outlet to really process that emotion.
Isn't it amazing? It's like literally for you, it's how it is for me. It saves you. Let's think about the song Pray.
Oh, yeah.
Because we did video for this. So, I wrote a song thinking, well, it was during the pandemic. My mental health was declining. I wasn't doing very well during the time. So I made this album out of order. Pray is one of the songs. And, I wrote it thinking about myself, but kind of through my mom. So I was like not very happy about how things were going. It's not that I was suicidal, but I wasn't far. I could say probably wasn't that far from being suicidal. That's how dark I felt. So I wrote that song depicting kind of imaginary world in which I envisioned my mom committing suicide, which happened a couple years before that. So, I wrote about feeling dark and like how I'm just ready to give up. And then we did the video. And I went farther. I pushed myself to depict the scene of how I found my mom when she committed suicide. Which was, taking those pills and stuff, right? And when we were doing it, it hit me how heavy that is. And I remember that I was like, I don't know if I can do it. If I can actually finish that project. And so, the video, the scenes, when we filmed them, my tears are the real tears. Because I was struggling making those scenes happen. And, but we did this. And I'm like, wow, right now I'm like emotional about this, but I'm glad that I did this. Thank you. And, I'm glad that it happened because it made me stronger, made me survive. I'm still here.
Yeah, I remember actually filming that scene, and now that I share something about my mother as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting now that I think about this. When I wrote the scene in Algo, I was more in touch with that feeling. But when we're filming that scene, I did have some anxieties. I remember it's like, where are they coming from? It felt very isolating sitting in a motel room. It felt very uncomfortable. I was not comfortable that day. I just felt, even though I'm thinking to myself, we're making a film. This is her song. Yet somehow something made me uncomfortable.
I remember this. I remember you being uncomfortable. I remember that exactly.
Because you're
I didn't
taking
know
these
why.
pills, we're and we're in this room, you're alone. You and your character are alone, and they're taking the pills, and you have to spill them. And I'm moving the lighting and cutting and so on, but it still was very
heavy,
very isolating. It felt very alone, like we're stuck in that motel room, and there was like nothing around that motel that really had any significance other than this moment. Yeah. And I bet you that had something to do with my mother as well, that entered or colored my and your creative process.
Yeah,
because
of course.
I was framing shots, you were acting, so it all works together.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, wow.
You know, as an artist, we see everyday life being corrosive. And I think often it is our job to carve beauty out of it. Would you agree?
Yeah, carve beauty out of pain. I agree, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. I think like as an artist, we have kind of like a responsibility to further something more to the world, right? So maybe inspire, perhaps, doing that, right?
Right.
Because people every day, like you say, every day is corrosive. So every day
Well, if every day is corrosive, most people shelter and then they block things that we as the artists pay attention to and we cannot let go.
The corrosiveness of life doesn't end with the end of pandemic. It's every day. Every day we get new wounds.
Yeah, look,
Right.
there's so much anger and hate in the world right now, all over.
Yeah.
And I think it's our job as an artist to, despite all the ugly, corrosive hate, anger out in the world, for us to carve out moments of beauty out of it, right?
Yeah, and also the strength. You know, I feel like my job is to show people, well, I'm that tiny woman, but I embrace a lot on my own, on stage and in my everyday creative world, right? Not to mention life and like different things that I went through that I share with my audience openly, the mental health stuff. You know, it's cool because then people pick it up and they're like, well, if she can, maybe I can.
Yeah.
You know, it's everything. It's everything that I could ask for as an artist. To have that element, you know.